Today is Wednesday, January 19, 2022, and we're here for a town board and a CDA meeting. As always, we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and Tim, can you please take the lead?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you, Tim. And Frank, do we have someone from the faith community with us today?
We sure do. In keeping with our tradition of having a faith-based invocation, we have on Zoom with us Reverend Jerry Halpin from the North Shore Christian Church right here in Riverhead. Welcome, Reverend Jerry.
Good evening.
Thank you, Frank.
Good evening, Reverend.
I would just like to ask if Frank and Tim could only stand, that would be great. I'm just kidding. If we could bow our heads for a word of prayer. Let's bow our heads for a word of prayer. God, we come before you and we thank you for this group of men and women that lead us, and we ask that you continue to guide them and direct them, give them safety, and Lord, will you continue to watch over us? And God, during this time of all humanity, give each one of us the humility to not be polarizing, but rather loving and caring to our neighbors. We thank you for our first responders and the men and women that keep our town safe, and we ask that you continue to guide them and give them direction. May the decisions made here tonight be done with grace and wisdom, and also, Lord, may we continue to lead each one of our daily lives in the way that you want us to, humbly and servanthood. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you, Reverend. Before we begin our regular meeting agenda today, I am pleased to honor two longtime Town of Riverhead employees, Laura Calamita and Bob Kosakevich, both who are retiring at the end of this month, both of whom have been dedicated employees to this town for many, many years. It is going to be truly an honor at the end of this month, an era that's going to end at the end of this month. Before I turn it over to Dawn Thomas, our CDA director, who worked closely with Laura for many, many years, Laura, I asked you to please come forward. Where are the resolutions? Oh, Dawn, you have it.
We go down?
Yeah, we can read it down
We
there.
go down? Yeah.
Don't let me cry.
I'm not gonna make you cry. I need some tissue. Might try. We'll see.
Sometimes everybody needs a good cry.
Come on, come
No
over
crying,
here.
no crying. Okay, take this off my head so it won't like make you mad.
Okay.
So before I read this lovely proclamation, Laura and I worked together for 11 years, and if it wasn't for her, I would have never survived this job because it is really hard. It is a really hard job, and she's a consummate professional, absolutely every single day. Was happy to see her smiling face. She saved me from jumping out the window probably 10 times, even though it was only on the first floor. And she tried to teach me how to dress, even though I'd come to work with baby puke on my back every other day. So, but anyway, I'll read this proclamation because it's really lovely, and it's an honor to be able to read this for you today. Honoring Laura Calamita upon her retirement as paralegal to the town of Riverhead. And I'm gonna just, I'm gonna cut to the meat of it if it's okay. Whereas Laura Calamita has been an invaluable and integral member of the town attorney's office, faithfully serving 5 town attorneys in her tenure, and was instrumental in the growth of the town attorney's office from 1 to 4 attorneys, but actually more 5 at one point. Laura's extensive experience in working with outside counsel, meticulous record keeping, precise and thorough review skills, in-depth understanding of covenants, bonds, and title examination, and her assistance in numerous pivotal litigations where we indeed crawled on the floor together, assembling papers because we had to get things done.
And chasing FedEx
And
cars.
chasing FedEx cars all over town to do things and save money for the taxpayers of Riverhead because we did it without outside counsel. So for her help there, she's helped the town of Riverhead and the residents immeasurably over those years. Ever the consummate legal professional, Laura's keen grasp of municipal procedure related to development throughout the town of Riverhead has helped countless developers follow through on their obligations to the town. She rules with an iron fist. Laura is always willing to go the extra mile, whether for an employee or a constituent. That in addition to the obvious and unavoidable loss of Laura's retirement, brings to the town attorney's office, Town Hall is also losing a fashion icon.
Oh, stop.
Winter or summer,
Like I can't.
with a truly unrivaled shoe and wardrobe collection, there is no doubt wherever her next chapter takes her, it will include an oversized closet. And then I will just read the end.
That's really great.
Now therefore, I, Yvette Aguirre, supervisor of the town of Riverhead, together with the town board and the citizens of the town of Riverhead, particularly myself, I am pleased to honor and recognize Laura Calamita for providing outstanding service to the residents of our community and congratulate her upon her retirement. I extend my personal best wishes along with the town board, and I hope to be able to lure you back in some capacity. Anyway.
So, thank you. What a great proclamation. That is so nice. That is really awesome.
Oh, you can hold on to it? Just this evening?
Oh, you want me to?
Joyce?
It's mine.
Yes.
Very nice.
She'll send you a
Thank you.
picture if I Laura.
Oh.
Thank you so much.
Laura, along with the fashion icon that you are, has anybody noticed the wheels that she pulls in here with? I
Yes,
have for the
that's
past
true.
30
Oh,
years.
Bob.
And I will
Oh,
tell you,
really?
I was
You
so,
know what I drive?
well, absolutely, I worked in the police department, so I'd sit at the
Yeah.
front desk, I would look out front, and in come Laura and another set of wheels, and you had the nicest cars, I have to say, still have the nicest cars.
And they
I
were
was
all
always-
registered and inspected legally.
Right. We checked that too. But I will say, it was a pleasure seeing you to come
thank
into
you
work.
so much.
And
I
for
really-
working for the town for over 3 decades. You will be missed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Seriously, you will be missed. And I appreciate all the help. You were instrumental with me in the town attorney's office when I first came in as a councilman. And you helped me through numerous things in there, and your work was always point on and going to be hard to replace.
Thank you
So
very much.
best wishes to you.
Thank you so much, everybody. And I'm grateful for the town of Riverhead for, it was just a great career. It was long, there was good times, there was bad times, but at the end of the day, it was a great career. It really was, you know, and I love to work, and I don't know, it may not be bye, may see you later.
And I think next, Tim, we're gonna ask Bob to come up forward.
Oh, should I?
I know, Bob, you prefer not to be recognized. Where is he? I know you're bad.
Robert Francis.
So before I turn it over to Councilman Hubbard, Bob, I wanted to say that you were a fixture here in the halls and the walls of Town Hall for many, many years. And since I came on board in 2020, you've been very helpful in guiding and guiding this town. And we've been very successful. We've accomplished a lot. And, you know, a lot of people are going to miss you. And I know that you work closely with Tim Hubbard, so we're going to give him the opportunity to present you with the proclamation.
Thank you.
Bob, before I read this, we go way back. Way back. Riverhead High School days. Bob was known as a motorhead.
Still
Bob
is.
had the drag cars, the race cars. He had a Chevelle 72?
I had a 66.
66, sorry. Blue?
Blue, then painted red.
Yep.
Then destroyed it.
Yes. Lucky he walked away from it, but Bob hung out a lot in Mattatuck where the motorheads hung out. They hung out in the parking lot down by the movie theater there. And it was mostly Riverhead people, you know, and a lot of farmers, a lot of farm boys up there with their cars. They had their muscle cars, but more than that, I played softball with you for a number of years, you and your brothers, up at Stotsky Park. We had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs.
We did.
But more importantly than any of that, just knowing you as a person, I have to say you're an astute gentleman. And the work that you've done for the town in your various deployments has really benefited the people of the town of Riverhead. Your institutional knowledge cannot be replaced. It cannot. Whoever takes your spot is going to have big shoes to fill, and it's going to be a difficult transition because you're the guy. Everybody in the town, all the department heads, we all know. We have a question. Call Bob. Bob will know. Bob will remember that. And you call Bob, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that was yeah, 1971, I think it was a Tuesday at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and Bob's got the answer for you. And on a rare occasion, if he doesn't, he knows where to go to get the answer. And that's important, and not to have that anymore is truly gonna be missed. So, Bob, best of luck to you. Let me read the proclamation. Whereas the supervisor of the town of Riverhead, on behalf of the entire town board and the residents of the town of Riverhead, have chosen to honor Robert Kazakevich. I introduced him once as Kazakowicz. Right? He's used to it. He's used to it. For providing nearly 2 decades of outstanding public service to the town of Riverhead. And whereas Robert Kazakevich was born and raised and has resided within the town of Riverhead for 64 years and began his career with the town of Riverhead in 1994 as town attorney. Thereafter, he served as town supervisor from 2000 to 2003. Then, after a hiatus, returned to public service at the town of Riverhead as deputy town attorney in 2010 and town attorney in 2011, whereas he has remained the steadfast and trusted leader of the town attorney's office. Whereas Robert has been an active member of the Riverhead's Lion Club since 1986, where he has served as president. Ever passionate about the enhancement and enrichment of the Riverhead community, Robert was instrumental in establishing the annual Riverhead Lions Holiday Parade, which has grown to become the premier family-orientated event of the Christmas season. And that's very true. Let it be known that Robert's retirement from the position of town attorney is indeed a major loss for the town of Riverhead, but undoubtedly a gain for his golf game. As it is widely known and understood, his next chapter will involve countless rounds of golf and buckets of balls in the warm South Carolina weather. Further, this retirement will afford Robert immeasurable opportunity to spend time with his beloved grandchildren. Although the town of Riverhead is losing a dedicated public servant, Robert's legacy will live on in all those employees and residents who have benefited so much from his strength of character and commitment to Riverhead. Now therefore, I, Yvette M. Aguilar, Supervisor of the Town of Riverhead, together with the entire town board and citizens of the Town of Riverhead, am pleased to honor and recognize Robert Kazakevich for providing outstanding service to the residents of our community and congratulate him upon his retirement. I extend my personal best wishes for his continued success in life pursuits.
I just want to say one thing to you, Bob, if I can. We met over 20 years ago. We worked on your campaign because you were what Riverhead needed, and I've commended you ever since then. But the true measure of you, Bob, that I've always respected is that I saw you at every one of our kids' concerts and every one of the school activities, and you were a dad before you were a town employee. And that's a true measure of a man, and I always respected you.
And before you get ready to speak, I'd just like to say, as a fellow farmer, my friend here not only is a fellow golfer, but grew up in a farm family, and he will be the first person to help his brother Smiley jump onto the planter and go plant cauliflower or broccoli. And I think he loves and cherishes that ability to do both, be the detail-oriented lawyer and the great sage that he is, but then on the weekends to go help on the farm. So I think this man has had the best of all worlds, and I congratulate you on your career.
I wasn't expecting so many kind words and on so many levels. Before I say anything, I want to say that Laura Calamita was immeasurable. When I stepped into the office in 1994, she made that transition and that process so much easier. And like Dawn, there were times when we were crawling around the floor assembling documents last second. So, and she was ready to do it, put in the time. And I think from time to time she'd come and say, hey Bob, your car's out of inspection and needs a registration. Little did I know in 1994 where the path would lead and the people I would meet and friends I would make. It was a tremendous ride. And I had a lot of words I was going to say. I mean, I've met a lot of great people here. It's been a lot of fun. It's had its ups and downs, like Laura said. Being a part of this community is going to be the tough part. It's really going to be difficult to leave, but I'll be back. Maybe even to help my brother Smiley. Cauliflower and broccoli. I found missed it, if I had a Lions Club meeting or something else, I cherish those times to help her. It was something that I grew up as. I was a farmhand, not a farmer. He'll tell you that. I never was a farmer, but I tried to help out and be a farmhand. I'm not a very religious person, but as Diane will confirm, I make my Sunday church as much as possible, and I have to say, he's been very, very good to me. I've been very fortunate. For all the reasons, for all the things that were discussed, the things with Tim Hubbard going back to days playing softball and baseball, Little League, and high school ball, being part of the farming community, and seeing the auctions that were done every year and coming back and watching those and being able to participate in that. And of course, being part of the town government. First time as town attorney, then as town supervisor, and then as town attorney again. It was fun. I'll cherish this. I guess I'm gonna have to build an extra room to put some of these things in. So, thank you all.
Congratulations.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Fran.
Thank you, Supervisor.
But you still have to finish the meeting.
Shoot.
Right back to work.
Supervisor, if I could just interrupt just a moment.
Yes,
We need to just pause, hit the pause button
yes,
for like...
we have chat here.
Well, right.
We have
I just want to let you know, we're working on a Zoom tech issue. The Zoom is down right now. We're working on troubleshooting that.
Okay,
Just-
so when he comes back on, just let
So
us
just
know,
need to
and then
work on that.
we'll cut that too.
Back up and running, so.
Okay,
Should Bob do his speech again?
no. Okay, so we'll alternate once that comes in. Okay, moving forward, our regular town board meeting agenda. I'm gonna ask for a first and a second to approve the town board meeting minutes of January 4th, 2022. Can I get a first and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, take the vote, please.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
A-Rod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
The minutes are approved.
Yes, reports and,
Town clerk, December 2021 monthly report, $7,333.33. The sewer district submitted their 2021 influent gallonage report. The police department submitted their December 2021 monthly report. The tax receiver, December 2001 utility collection report was $715,952.05. The tax receiver total tax collection to date as of January 12th was $74,565,697.76. Under correspondence, there was a letter from Elaine McDuffie, where she made comments on outdoor noise restrictions. Wading River Civic Association, Sid Bale, comments on Sound Avenue Historic Corridor. Joan Sear sent a letter, she was requesting an appeal for noise mitigation and code enforcement. And that's all I have for now.
great. Thank you, Diane. And now we're going to begin the public hearing portion of this meeting. We have 3 public hearings today. The first one was scheduled 6:05. It is now 6:26. And we're going to commence the meeting. It's in regard to the water district and the Dish Wireless to lease space at 1035 Pulaski Street in Riverhead. And Bob, I'm going to ask you to please expand on this topic.
Before you start, Bob, I had a question. The notice for the public hearing, did it specify that it would be accessible via Zoom?
Yes, it did.
There's
And there is a public comment, wait, hold on. You don't come up here in the middle of me opening up a public comment. You're here, there'll be time for that. Do not disturb my meeting. Would you please sit down? We're continuing on with the public hearing. Bob, would you please introduce the topic? The public hearing is now open.
There was a notice that went in as part of this that there would be Zoom capability of this for purposes of public hearing.
Your Zoom link is broken.
Okay, So, turning to the nature of the public hearing is to hear from all interested people regarding a proposed lease between Dish Wireless LLC and the Riverhead Water District. I'll touch on the various matters. I do have...
Give me a second, Bob. IT just told us our Zoom link is up.
Okay.
It's been up. I don't know why somebody would come from the audience to say it's broken, but they're here.
All right.
But let's move on. It's up,
All right.
and it's open to the public.
Now, Special Counsel Dan Barker is here to answer any additional questions should they come up from the public. And I also understand this, a Dish representative is here if there are further questions with respect to Dish. This public hearing and the two that follow are very similar. The leases are very similar in all three instances in that there's an initial 5-year term with 3 5-year terms for a total of 20 years. This location that we're talking about is 1035 Pulaski Street. It's known as tax map number 0600-124-127. It is where the Riverhead Water District headquarters is located. It's on the south side of Pulaski Street. And the tower, and what it is again, looking to enter into a lease with Dish for the location and operation of wireless antennas and appurtenances. It's the Tin Man. Everybody who's familiar with our water district tanks, this is the Tin Man location. The next two that will follow will be Plant 9, which is Wading River. I think that's the next one, and then actually Route 58, and then Plant 9.
Okay.
I think Dan's ready to fill in a few more gaps, and then we can hear from the public whether it's a wise decision to enter into this lease or whether it's not, and that's what you're looking for as far as public comment. Dan?
Yes, thank you, Bob.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome.
My name is Dan Barker. I'm an attorney with Smith Finkelstein, outside counsel to the Riverhead Water District. As Bob indicated, the Riverhead Water District, with the guidance and the parameters of the town board, have negotiated 3 separate leases, which are the 3 public hearings on the calendar and agenda today. And those leases are all identical with the exception of the address of the water tanks. The first one that is noticed here is for Pulaski Street. The lease, the term, Bob indicated correctly, for each of these leases is an initial term of 5 years and then automatic renewals of additional 5-year terms. The initial rent that the Riverhead Water District and the town would be receiving is $95,000 a year, and there's annual inflators, we call them, built into the lease, so that every year thereafter the annual rent will be 103% of that $95,000. A little more basically speaking, this lease is very similar to other leases that the town and the water district have negotiated with other major carriers like Verizon and AT&T, considering the terms. And basically what happens here is that each carrier leases a small area of ground space to put their required equipment, and then on the water tank itself they put antennas and related accessory equipment to get the signal out to the people of Riverhead and surrounding areas that the signal reaches. As I said, and with prior discussions with Mr. Mancini, who's here, and with the town board, this lease and these leases are along the same terms, generally speaking, and in line with recent annual leases for the most recent Verizon and AT&T leases that the Water District and the Town Board has negotiated. Other than that, I'm available for any questions. Mr. Mancini's
Okay.
here, and I believe that there's a representative from Dish here as well.
Okay, no problem. I'm going to call up anyone from the public. Does anyone want to add to this public hearing, want to be heard on this topic? Anyone? Any of the board members want to add to this topic?
We've discussed it. I'm satisfied with the work that was done. I think we got the best deal we could get, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
great negotiations on behalf of the Water District and the
Yes.
Attorney's Office. Yeah.
Great, so now we're going to close this public portion section of this hearing, and we're going to leave it open for written comment until 4:30 PM on January 28th. at the town clerk's office. This public hearing is now closed. Huh? Was there anybody on Zoom? I just want to double check. I didn't think so, but it's operational, right? Okay, no problem. Thank you. Okay, so, moving forward, there's a second public hearing today, and it's scheduled for 6:10. The time is now 6:32. It concerns also, the Water District and Dish Wireless to be leased at a space located on Route 58. And again, Bob Kazakevich, I know it's very similar to what you described earlier. You briefly described the topic at hand.
Yes, and whatever gaps I don't catch, Dan Barker, I'm sure will. But as pointed out, this is also a public hearing to hear from the public regarding a proposed lease agreement with Dish. In this instance, it's our Route 58 tank, which is on the north side of Route 58. Tax map number is 684-18. As with the prior public hearing, it's a 5-year lease with 3 renewals for a total of 20 years. Base rent for the first year rent is going to be $95,000 with again, the escalator that Mr. Barker's pointed out. The lease is similar to and those that have been recently entered with the other cell providers. And Dan, if you want to fill in a little more, or if you're happy with that, we can then hear from the public.
I'm happy with that, Bob. The lease is identical other than the address of the location. And what I didn't add at the first public hearing, and maybe I should now, Dish, through the negotiation or during the negotiation, would provide their plans and specs, the specifics of the equipment, and those with the Water District were sent for review and approval by the Water District's engineers, H2M. So just generally speaking, the specifications of the equipment have already preliminarily been reviewed by the Water District's engineers.
Right, and we're talking about the same amount of money per year?
Same amount of money, same
$95,000.
term, year-wise.
Same conditions? Correct.
Exactly.
Great. Does anyone from the public want to be heard in this regard? Please come forward. Does the board want to add to this?
Still happy.
Still happy? Okay. So we're gonna close the second public hearing. The time now is 6:35. We're gonna leave it open for written comments until 4:30 p.m. on January 28th at the town clerk's office. And now we're gonna move, Chip, do we have a chat on? Yeah? Okay, why don't we get him so he can leave? Let's put Chad up.
Chad is here in person.
Oh, he is in person.
Yep.
I thought, okay.
Yep.
I thought you were coming in through Zoom. Okay, good. Perfect. Okay, so we're just gonna deviate before we start our third. Chad was supposed to be here a little bit earlier. We got a little tied up, we understand. But he just wanted to say a few words on to our town attorney. Chad, can you please come forward? Good evening.
Sure, good evening. Thank you. I'm here on behalf of State Senator Palumbo, and we just want to thank you, sir, again for your continued years of service, and hopefully you enjoy some of that sun and golf down in South Carolina. My parents are down there, so maybe I'll see you down there on the golf course. But on behalf of State Senator Palumbo's office, I have a commendation award and challenge coin I'd like to present to you.
Thank you so much.
Chad, thank you. Be safe. Have a good evening. All right, we're going to move forward to our third and our final public hearing today, which was scheduled at 6:15. The time now is 6:37, and we're going to open this public hearing. It concerns the Water District and Dish Wireless to lease space at plant number 9 in Wading River, and I'm going to ask Bob Kazakevich to please expand on this matter.
As with the 2 prior hearings, we're here to hear from the public as to the proposed lease agreement with Dish Wireless LLC. In this instance, the location would be Plant 9 tank site, which is in Wading River. It's located at Great Rock Drive and Gerald Street. It's behind, I'm trying to think of this subdivision right now, but I just went out of my head. The tax map number is 657-1.5. As with the two prior hearings, this proposed lease agreement is also for an initial 5-year term with 3 5-year renewals. The base rent is for $95,000 with the escalator as previously described by Mr. Barker. It also, as also pointed out, it's been reviewed by H2M, and the lease that's being presented for consideration today is, again, similar to those that have been recently negotiated with Verizon and AT&T.
Dan, did you want to expand on that?
No, I don't think it's necessary. Bob did an excellent job.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody from the public want to come forward in regards to this matter? Anyone? Does the board have anything to add?
Still happy.
You still happy? Okay, so, we're good, guys? We're gonna close the public hearing. Okay, we're gonna close this public hearing. The time is 7:39, very short public hearing, obviously. Before, 6:30, excuse me. We're gonna close this public hearing. We're gonna leave it open for open comments until 4:30 p.m. on January 28th at the town clerk's office. And this is gonna conclude all of our public hearings for today. Moving forward, we're gonna move on to resolutions. Does anyone from the public have any comments regarding strictly the resolutions today?
Just before we get started on comments, just a reminder to folks, they'll of course have 5 minutes to make any of their comments. We'll ask for their name and their hamlet before they start. And of course, if there is back and forth with the town board, that does not stop the clock. And we'll keep the time here. Thank you.
I have one clarification, Devin. Is that 5 minutes per resolution or in total if you're talking multiple resolutions?
In total, multiple resolutions.
Ellen Hoyle, Riverhead, New York. I'm here to talk about, amongst other things, the Scramble drag strip events that you have as a special event, Chapter 255 events, the applications for the racetrack at EPCAL. When you did the work session regarding this, you had promised that there would be public hearings, and I'm wondering why that we're now voting on this without the hearings.
Ma'am, if you want to ask all your questions and make all your
Yeah,
comments,
I
they
do.
can
I
answer
am.
at the end,
Yeah.
or you can allow
The
them to
second
answer.
thing is, I don't understand, at what point does something no longer become a special event? You have 4 months worth of events on every weekend. At some point, this becomes a business and not an event. So those are my questions regarding that. The other thing had to do with the money that's being transferred back with the CBDG money. I was hoping somebody could explain to me exactly how that money is being moved around because it's somewhat confusing in the packet. There was one other thing. The other thing is the drive-in restaurant on Osborne Avenue. Is that the Sonic that doesn't exist? Last time I read from the owners of the property, the proposal for Sonic had fallen through and there was no restaurant that they were in contract with, so I don't understand what we're actually approving here. For the most part, that's it. Thank you very much.
Ellen, the owner of the property on Route 58, that you're referring to with Sonic, Sonic had backed out of the deal.
Yes, did they come back?
But the owner decided to continue on, possibly with the hopes of trying to lure him back, or possibly trying to lure another.
Okay,
drive-through
so
type
then my question is, what exactly are we approving if there's no Sonic? I mean, Sonic's gonna want their restaurant to look like a Sonic, McDonald's is gonna want theirs to look like McDonald's. So what exactly are we approving?
The plans to allow that to happen there.
But,
Well, this
but
is-
it's on what plans?
This is a special permit application as opposed to a site plan. Site plan would probably get into those architectural details and otherwise.
And so,
And as you know, zoning deals with the use, not the user, so if
Well, then
it's,
the
if it's
other
someone
question-
other than Sonic, it's not necessarily infirm.
then the other question is it limited to drive-ins? Can they turn it into something else later down the road?
The approval is gonna be conditioned upon a proposed drive-in restaurant and retail. So
Okay.
if they tried to do something else, this site plan would not be able to carry over and expand on something that's not called out for in this particular resolution.
Are
They
they,
would need to
and
come
they're not
back.
gonna be able to clear anything until they actually have something to put in place?
Going back before,
The clearing is something that, this property's fairly cleared already, so I'm not sure there's a lot of clearing to happen there.
Okay.
Because as you know, it's been pretty much cleared, it's been used over time.
But nothing's
as-
gonna be built until they get the site plan? I
They
mean,
would
the,
need site plan approval for
Yeah,
sure,
okay.
absolutely. And as far as the other issue, the public hearing,
Mm-hmm.
I know I was out with COVID, I don't know what was said, but
No, it was-
as you know, 255 does not require a public hearing.
no, I know that, but it was,
Nor does the CDA resolution to approve the agreement.
no, I know that.
And we didn't do them last year.
No, I
so-
understand that,
okay.
but it was on the work session, on the video, it was promised that we would have a public hearing regarding this matter, and now that's not happening.
Okay, there was no promise, that's your interpretation.
No,
I
it was
heard-
on
hold let me
video and
finish.
audio.
Let me finish, Ms. Sawyer, and let it be known that she's a former candidate for
Yeah, former.
town assessor.
I'm
Tried-
still a
was
citizen of
running for-
Riverhead.
You are, but you also had some.
So wait,
political-
for the next 20
But
years,
in
you're gonna
either
announce
case,
that?
We're moving forward. We did make a statement that there may be there will be a public hearing. There was not, it came to my attention thereafter that it's not necessary for 255 applications. And we already had one. And that was just as a precaution to hear from the entire community. People can now, on the resolutions before us, people can speak now, before the resolutions, and at the end, after the resolutions, on any comment. So the public is still gonna have an input. If you wanna come forward
they're
during
not.
those sections, Ms. Hoyle,
Not the same as they would at a public hearing.
Okay, so does anybody else wanna add to the resolutions?
Anybody else to comment on resolutions before the board today?
Okay.
Chip, anybody in the room?
Okay, therefore, do we have anybody online that raises their hand?
Yes, Kathy McGraw.
Kathy McGraw, okay.
Okay, I think I have myself off of Zoom.
No, you're on, Kathy.
Okay, all working now. Thank you, first of all, for implementing. My name is Kathy McGraw, I'm from Northville Hamlet. Thanks for implementing the Zoom for this meeting. I think it's really important to get public input as much as possible. Just a couple of things about the drag racing resolutions. I noticed that at the town work session, it was agreed that the town, because of liability, wanted only NHRA approved events. And the Scramble event is not such an event, and I'm just curious to know if that's being taken into account in the voting on that resolution. And I would also point out that in that resolution, it says that Mr. Baxter paid a fee of $350, but it is a large gathering and he should be paying a fee of $650 for that application. Also, all four of the resolutions mention a short-term lease for both runways, yet the applications only talk about using the 10,000-foot runways, not using the shorter runway. So I was curious as to why that was in the resolutions. And Mr. Scalzo indicated that he would revise his dates so that they would not conflict with bird season, yet one of his dates, April 16th, is during bird season. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that discrepancy. And one other thing was the fact that it appears from watching all the interactions that you have a lot of confidence in Mr. Scalzo. And Mr. Scalzo mentioned that March is an iffy time from a safety point of view to be doing drag racing. And I note that Mr. Baxter's events are the very beginning of March. And so I was wondering if safety from is being looked into from the viewpoint of the temperature, the ground temperature at that time. And then finally, I would reiterate what Ellen said. Watching that town board work session, citizens certainly came away with the impression that all of the board members thought they were going to a public hearing. Dawn Thomas was charged with setting it up, and it's not happening. That's a little bit disappointing. But those are my comments on the resolutions. Thank you very much for your time, and any comments you have would be greatly appreciated.
So you do have the opportunity, very similar to a public hearing, to anybody to come and speak on it. So that nothing, the public, it's important, they have the right to have an input. That's why during a town board meeting, you have, you can come forward before the resolutions and again after other resolutions on any other matter. So that matter's been addressed. As far as the March drag racing, I also have my concerns because I can't see, especially in Riverhead, the ground being whatever the level of the temperature is. I think it's 50, whatever. Maybe we'll let somebody here who's here representing the drag racing community speak on that behalf. So that we do have a concern. And NRH sanctioned, it's up to the board to decide, you know, if that's what they want. I made that appeal to the board when the resolution was introduced, and the board is going to decide today. Everybody has the right to vote for or against it, and Mr. Scalzo, you indicated you wanted to come up now? Yes. Okay.
Okay, Pete Scalzo, and I'm the promoter of the Racetrack Knott Street Drag Racing Series at EPCAL. To answer the question on the runway, the switch to the request for the 10,000-foot runway, as I mentioned at the work session a couple of weeks ago, the 7,000-foot runway, as we know, IAA, and Bob probably can correct me, I think they have a long-term agreement with the town that in the event of a storm emergency, that runway can be used to store cars, which they're still being there now. So my thought was moving forward to make a request so that we could use the 10,000-foot site. However, on the 10,000-foot site, it is not the runway that I'm looking for. The great advantage of the 10,000-foot, I believe it's called the Eastern Runway, is the taxiway at that point is 222 feet wide. And the other advantage of going to that site, in addition to not having to worry about a storm coming up, God forbid again, where we'd have to be displaced over on the 7,000 foot, is because of Skydive, when they were there is water and electric to the site. The runway itself at the 10,000 foot site will only be used for the pit area, which is tremendous, a lot bigger than what we had before, which would make the flow so much better for the racers. So the racing activity will only be on the taxiway. The lady brought up the issue about the April 16th date. I was on the phone with Mr. Rob Marsh with the DEC. I also reached out to Mr. Byron Young with the Audubon Society. And the standard, what has been for the state of New York, was the bird nesting season typically would begin in May. However, because things have been changing a little bit, they have changed it now here on the island that the bird nesting season, they said, starts on April 15th. Having said that, April 15th, my request for the last date of this, what I call the spring series, is April 16th. It's a day after the arbitrary date that has been set. When I mentioned it to Mr. Marsh, yes?
Mr. Scalzo, who did you speak to from the DEC?
Rob Marsh.
And
Rob
who else?
Marsh.
Anybody else?
From the DEC, no, only Rob Marsh.
Okay, good.
And he assured me, I told him what I was going to do. His words to me was, if the town gets in touch with me, then I will tell them what my opinion is on that. I also reached out to Mr. Byron Young with the Audubon Society. He was very nice, he was very receptive. He said he appreciated me reaching out to him. And also I explained, I wanted to get another confirmation from him as far as when technically he felt the season started. And again, he reiterated April 15th. So again, to answer the question, we're requesting April 16th. Is that technically in the bird nesting season? I guess it is. If that is, a terrible issue, I think I've proven over a couple of years that we've been, or actually the year that we've worked, that I am always willing to compromise. And I want to make sure that what we do moving forward, I can compromise and keep everybody happy. I'm looking for that one date of the April 16th. If the town board feels that is out of the question, then we can talk more about it. I don't think that's too much to ask. The application, the term of a lease, this is not a lease, it's a special event application. And so we are, when we talk about, when I say compromise, I'm willing to compromise on the dates, whatever we have to do. However, and again, to address what the lady said, I am not willing to compromise on the sanctioning. My events will be sanctioned by the National Hot Rod Association, the #1 sanctioning body. All of the regulations, all of the insurance regs will be in place as per their regulations. So even if I did what we called an outlaw event, which means, it doesn't sound nice, but outlaw would be not an NHRA sanction or not an IHRA sanction. Between the two of them, I've done over 170
Mr. Scalzo, you have
events.
30 seconds if you could
Okay.
wrap up. Thank you.
I will only comply, only do an event which goes with those standards of what the sanctioning body requires as far as barriers, et cetera.
And what is the temperature on the ground for drag racing?
The
appropriate-
real coldest, well, first of all, 45 degrees would be. I thought 50, I think 45 degrees really is really pushing it. So I don't think, I would not do an event that the track surface would be colder than 45 degrees.
Okay.
That's a safety, very important safety factor.
Mr. Scalzo?
Yes.
You had, in the beginning, you had mentioned you spoke to Rob Marsh.
Yes,
And you also, and you gave the dates.
Yes.
From the 15th, but you also said, or alluded to, that was kind of arbitrary. Was that the feeling of the DEC? I mean, the birds don't make a reservation for the 15th. That's kind of when they, is a window of when they come in?
well, yeah, I guess, if the weather is warm, and these were the words, if the weather is warm, that's when they nest. Now, the weather could be cold. They might not be there until May. I'm not an Audubon official, but yes, sir, that is a date that they came up with, and that's what Mr. Marsh had told me.
And they were okay with this?
The DEC, yes. Rob Marsh, yes.
There was no doubt within their minds that if the application got approved, that they would not have a problem with it.
That was the indication from Mr. Marsh to me, and he also said to me, if the town board gets in touch with me, that's what I will tell them. So again, if you saw the original application that I made, I was going all the way into May, and the only reason why I did that was I was going by what the original dates were for bird nesting season. Now recognizing it's pushed back or will push forward to April, that's why I amended the dates. However, and there's another thing, in the original application, I put in the contingency for rain dates. However, under these circumstances, there will not be any rain dates after, and we probably will get rain. As you know, April is a rainy month. So if we have a rain out, then the good thing about, if you would approve the applications for our summer and fall series is, if there's a rain out on the spring dates, then they'll be honored at any of our summer or fall dates.
Mr. Scalzo, in the spirit of cooperation, as you said, you're willing to work with us. In going over the application, it came across my mind that you have one scheduled for September 11th. I would ask you to withdraw that date because that is on a Sunday, and with the Calverton National Cemetery right across the street, I would not be comfortable voting for a day of drag racing on September 11th at that location.
Councilperson Hubbard, I agree with you. That's a good point. I would like to amend that application, and if it would be possible, I would like to request Friday night, because we'll have the lights up. So Friday night, 9/9 will replace Sunday 9/11.
That works for me.
It works for me.
Great,
Thank you.
yes.
Mr. Scalzo, I have one question, and this has to be addressed. The last drag racing series, there was an indicator throughout the internet, because I was seeing what was going on, and concerning refunds. I saw some posting, I don't think it was your event, but I did see a posting that said if the town says that the race doesn't take off, there's gonna be no refunds. First of all, there's gonna be a lot of conditions, as you know. You have to hire the fire department and the ambulance, and you have to complete certain conditions. But are you willing to put, some notice that there will be a refund to individuals? And some of these people spent $500-600 and they're waiting for this, and they'd say the fire department can't come up, a week before, and you're not gonna keep these people money. We gotta protect our public. And so, are you willing to put an indicator, some type of indication of refund policy that would be checked through the attorney's office to protect the public at large?
Supervisor, I'm 77 years old. I have a hell of a legacy. I'm so proud of my reputation, and as a matter of fact, years ago, Bob checked me out. So absolutely, there's no way I'm going to steal anybody's money. And my wife, who handles everything for me, Marie, working along with, well, she wouldn't let me keep the money either, but working along with the Eventbrite folks, you have my guarantee, whatever it is. No, we don't want to take anybody's money, and again, with my reputation, that could never happen.
I thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Scalzo, I do have one question, just in terms of the rain dates. So there was just a concern that was brought up, was the fact that you stating that those tickets, if a specific day is rained out, canceled for any reason, that they can use those tickets on any other future dates. But I'd also be aware of that fact that there is a maximum capacity allowed. And so that someone, if an entire weekend is canceled 2 days and they all come back the following Saturday, you may be over capacity, and how will you address that?
I think the best way to address that, again, and I'll put that on my wife and the folks from Eventbrite, if that becomes an issue, then at that point, what we'll be able to put out is, okay, we got rained out on, say it would be the 16th, we got rained out on that date. If that was the only rain date we had, then I'm confident, or I would be comfortable that as we're moving forward and as the pre-sales are coming in, we can adjust and we can say, all right, we have X amount of sold for this date, we're going to allow X amount from the rain out for this date and X amount for the other date. So I'm very aware of the amount of people that we put in the application. And I did put, to address something the lady mentioned, which didn't apply to me, but we did put the application in for a large event permit, and our fees were the $650 that's required.
Okay. So, Mr. Scalzo, and this applies to Scramble, we need to have the conditions of approval. And the attorney's office, is Eric here?
He's left.
He left, we don't have any other attorneys?
Not today.
All right, Bob, can you instruct them to make sure that there's a, conditions of approval? The board might hear tonight say that you can go forward with these events, then there are conditions. And I think there was some misunderstanding the last time. I think one way of correcting is to tell everyone from now on that there's a 255 and there's gonna be a condition of approvals. And so I know you're not gonna have a problem, because you heard all the conditions. Let me just check with the chief. Chief, do you have, anything to add to this? You did go through it at work session, I just wanna make sure. So he's gonna get if this application, and both are approved, we need some type of conditions report of approval. Because I know the last year, people were saying, well, the town doesn't approve it, that's it, we walk away. We can't do that to our, and that would be one of the conditions. And that
Sure.
And I really appreciate you accepting that.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I know there's a lot of cost to you, and, but we gotta protect our public.
Absolutely. And with this chief, I can't get away with anything. So
Yeah.
he's going to be right on time.
I don't let him get away with anything.
And the
either.
fire marshal. They're both tough, but they're good men, and they have the interest of the town in mind. So
Okay.
I can work with them.
No problem. Anybody else from the public want to be heard on? It has to be the resolutions on, the resolutions with Ross, okay?
I understand.
Oh, you're doing good.
I'm Gwen Mack, Riverhead. I just have a question. How can you approve his resolution if you're gonna have a lot of conditions to it? Don't you have to have the conditions written on the resolutions before you pass them? That's what I don't understand. How are you gonna pass this resolution and you're telling him he needs more conditions?
It's based on the application, Gwen, and information that has to be on the application has to be approved before we would allow this to take place. The resolution is saying, yes, you can go ahead and have it, but you're gonna have to meet the criteria based on the application, which includes the safety plan and the police department, the fire department, having ambulance personnel there and everything else. If that doesn't happen, the event doesn't take place.
So that means even though you okay this resolution now, if he doesn't fulfill all his obligations,
There you go.
Correct,
You can-
because
okay.
like for now, he can't get insurance right now for the event because it's too far out.
okay, no
So-
disrespect, I just didn't understand.
Yeah, that's
Thank you
all,
so
but we
much.
have to give him, because he has to advertise for the event and everything, so if it's not done right, it won't happen.
Okay, thank you so much.
And Gwen, there's a lot of expense, printing tickets, getting to attorneys.
I understand all that.
Yeah, and it's a long process with the police department, and to start that, and we say no, the board says no, so it's the event itself, but that's why we're talking about the conditions.
Okay.
We gotta protect the town, and the conditions really to protect
I
the town.
understand.
So,
Okay, thank you
Gwen.
so much.
You take care. Anyone else from the public wanna come forward in this regard? You have somebody on, okay? Okay, we have John McAuliffe.
He's got the lizard symbol, right? Is that the same guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was at the chamber.
He's
He
on
showed
mute.
up at the chamber with no mask yesterday.
John, you have to unmute.
I'm unmuted.
All
I'm
right,
okay.
John.
Right,
Good afternoon.
John
Good evening.
McAuliffe from Rolling Woods or Roanoke Landing, whichever nomenclature you want. I first of all want to also thank you for, there was some confusion about it, and thank you for clarifying that this was going to be Zoom for the board as well as the hearings. I also wanted to note that your dialogue with Mr. Scalzo went far, far, far beyond the 5 minutes, which I think was a good thing. And I would hope that that, in fact, would be your pattern, that you don't take away the dialogue from the 5-minute allotment. On the resolutions concerning the drag racing, I think it's very clear from the work session, it's clear from the article in the local, that the intention was to have hearings before a resolution. I think, I understand that you reconsidered that, but I think in terms of good faith with the community, that you should table all of these resolutions so that you can have the hearing first. I think we need to recognize that there was pretty deep division within the community, especially the people who are in the immediate neighborhood of the races. We don't know what the consequences will be in terms of noise and other things of using the main runway. I think that has to get looked at. But I think most importantly, you need to give an opportunity to really hear from people in the affected communities. Table the resolutions, have the hearings, then come back to it. There's still plenty of time. We're in the middle of January. I think this March resolution, for other reasons you ought to table. It's clearly way too early in the season, and there are all kinds of questions about the way he approached it to begin with. But coming back to Mr. Scalzo's, I mean, I have tremendous respect for the way he's handled this, but I think you're going into a qualitatively different situation. You're talking about twice as many races. You're talking about twice the audience. And I think that that needs to also be considered very carefully. The supervisor has said on a number of occasions that it was good for business in the town. I'd like some objective data about how good it was for business in the town, how much comes into the town that's benefiting it, and how much is basically a service that we're providing for people that live up island. And then how do you balance that service against the obvious discomfort to people who live in the immediate neighborhood? So I think table it, give the hearings, let people be heard, and you have enough time to do it. Think about whether you really do want to make this a major factor in Riverhead for the spring and fall. I mean, I have my own doubts about it. I'm not a big fan, but that's not here nor there. The question is really what the impact is on the people in the area, and I don't see why you wouldn't simply table it and do those hearings first so you have a chance. The other point is there is a reference that in the resolutions that a short environmental assessment form has been completed. I mean, I have not had a chance to look it up, but my memory was that if you went above a certain size, that the short environmental assessment form was not adequate, that you needed to do a more substantial environmental assessment. Maybe Bob could clarify that, but I just think that there's no reason to rush to judgment on this. Give yourself and give the community time to really be heard on it and make a real decision that, in fact, this is what you want to have
Mr. McCullough, you
part
have
of
30
it.
seconds, sir.
Yeah, I suspected the time would come down. I'm finished. Thank you very much.
You're still alive on that. All right, do we have anybody else on Zoom?
Hi, John. Oh,
No?
sorry.
And how you doing? Come up.
Okay.
How you doing?
Northville. One real quick question. Is there going to be a volume or a decibel limit with this racing? I brought this up to the board months ago. I used to go to the West Hampton Raceway and I enjoyed it very much. I went to your races. I had a great time. 1 out of 10, 1 out of 15 cars would be a blaster with no headers and would wake up the whole town. I'm not sure. Will there be a decibel? Will there be a rule on how loud these cars can be?
If you could just address the comments to the board, and then
Oh,
we'll
I'm sorry.
respond afterwards. Thank you.
I'll bring that to the board.
Okay, thank
Well,
you.
the fact is that I used to go to the West Hampton Raceway every once in a while, and I spent a lot of time at Cupsaw Beach down there also. And on Sunday afternoons, I'd be on the beach, and I could hear them from the raceway very clearly. I mean, West Hampton obviously had no limit, but I'm just wondering if there will be a limit here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My understanding is the application is going to be the same as last year. The cars are going to be mufflered.
There won't
John,
be any open
just
headers.
so no open headers.
Okay, and that will be followed through, I mean, if you hear, okay, because like I said, 1 out of 15, but I agree.
Great, thank you.
There will be
Anyone
decibel
else?
readings from Mr. Scalzo's announcements, right?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Oh, hi, Kim. Okay. How you
Hi,
doing?
good evening. Kimberly Judd, Riverhead, speaking on behalf of myself. I have no dog in this fight. I wasn't going to speak, but as many of the board members know, I was born and raised here in Riverhead. If you know where the Bean and Bagel is, that used to be Judd's Restaurant when I was back in the 60s and the 70s. My grandparents owned that place. They operated it when Grumman was Grumman. They loved it. I've had many family members and friends that have worked for Grumman, as I'm sure a lot of the board members have, and maybe even some of you used to work there. I still have relatives that work at this place. When I was in high school, it was required in our ROTC class that we took a tour of the place. It breaks my heart to see what it's become, the non-use of it. I know that it's an unpopular opinion of mine, but it should be a runway. It should be an airport, low-level airport. You look at a Google photo, one of the biggest runways on the east coast of the United States, and it just sits there. So if we can't use it for airplanes, let's use it for drag racing. I don't know Mr. Scalzo, and like I said, I'm not a fan of drag racing, but let's do something there. And let's not always say when there's a new use that comes, nah, we don't want to do this. I remember a few years ago, George Hochbruckner came, and I think it was before.
Yeah, no, he
Yeah, he came here to
here.
speak, and he was booed.
Yeah.
And he was proposing to, he was speaking as a consultant, but it was on behalf of a use, maybe the subdivision, I don't recall exactly, but I know the residents of Calverton are always unhappy with whatever use you put to it. But let's do something with it. Let's just not sit there and do nothing with it for the next 40 years. Let's not forget what this property was historically for the town. Thank you.
Thank you for your insight. Thank you. Hi, good evening.
Hello, good evening. My name is Josephine Hines. I'm married into Riverhead. My husband is Hines, and one of the things that is important for us is to be able to support the community and to also to be able to be balanced. And I thank the board for considering the environment, but we also have to consider our youth. You know, Riverhead is one of the schools that is growing. We have a lot of youth that don't have a license to go drinking or to be able to go to the wineries, but they'll be able to enjoy a race. They'll be able to bring their families and their children. And one of the things that we noted working at the Riverhead Racetrack is how much families and children will come together and really have a solid, healthy way of engaging. And I have a master's in environmental conservation from NYU. I understand the value of nature and the environment, but I'm also an educator. And we need to balance the environment with the youth and the community that we live. The community is also an environment that needs to thrive. And right now, coming out of COVID, being isolated, being kept from our friends and families and loved ones, what a great way to bring your cousin and your loved ones in a responsible way. So I'm glad that you really did consider the aviary and the nature, the fauna around us, to be able to support one another. So I just want to say thank you to the board. Thank you to the lady that spoke. We do need to bring balance, but we cannot just rule out our youth and make our youth unimportant because they're not here and actively involved, and just simply say that they don't also play a part in what they do. We're Hines Enterprise. We hire Riverhead High School students. We hire from the community. We live here. We vote here. My husband been here for over 30 years. And we really need to continue to grow and help businesses grow as well, because we need to thrive together. So I am really pleased that you consider the bird. My mother has an aviary, that you consider the bird and the environment in this, and the grass around it, that you have a limit size to the group size, so that's consideration there, that you're considering the mufflers already and the sound. So we've already taken into this account. He is putting a big expense when he does that. And so we need to really balance it and wonder how much did that person give of themselves to be here. And I appreciate what he's doing for our community and helping at least us bring families together in a healthy way, especially after COVID, even though we're going through it still. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hines. Okay, anyone else from the public want to come forward on the resolutions?
I had further questions about the drag racing.
I'm sorry, Ms. Hoyle, I think you were already up for resolution comments?
Oh, but he had more time.
Yeah, I think, so,
We asked a lot of questions.
yeah.
Wait.
So it's a 5-minute shot, you had the one shot earlier.
Okay, so you're
Certainly, it's
officially-
gonna be up to the
officially
board's
denying me
discretion,
the
but
right to talk.
that's a policy, so you get 1 minute, one 5-minute shot at it.
It's always
Thank you.
plans, so they can report.
Chip, anyone else in the Zoom room? Okay.
All right, does anybody else from the public want to, then Ms. Hall, you also have the option of calling us, writing us, and emailing us. We did get your foil that you submitted the other day. So, yeah, you can always write to us, call us, and stop by, you know. Anyone else? Chip, do we have anybody on Zoom? Okay, does the board want to add anything?
Well, the only thing I would just say to Mr. Scalzo, in terms of the date for the bird nesting, that I just would like to say that should the weather be comparable and it be an early spring, know that we are in fact at the mercy of the DEC, you are aware, and so if Mr. Marsh or anyone else should reconsider and have concerns about that day, that you'll realize that that they have the higher authority, so to speak, and that it may be changed, and you understand that.
Okay,
if that becomes an issue, which, again, I related to you what Mr. Marsh had told me. However, if that is an issue, then when I talk about compromise, if I had to, I would move up the beginning. So I would replace the April 16th date with a date of March 27th. I don't like to go that early because, again, I'm worried about the weather and I'm worried about the track being
All
cold.
right, Mr.
So we
Scalzo,
got
if
safe.
we have to, what you're telling us is if you have to adjust the date for whatever reason, that you're gonna adjust it,
Of
correct?
course, yes,
So
I
that's gonna
compromise.
happen with, yeah, if the DEC says. So let's just move on.
Good.
Been pondering on this topic for a while. We should go to set resolutions, and if we don't have anyone else, I'm gonna ask Diana, town clerk, to please read the resolutions. Yeah, we'll set that.
Okay. Resolution 56.
CDBG 2021 program budget adoption, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 57.
CDBG 2020 program budget adjustment, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 58.
Planning Department budget adjustment, so moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 59.
And just before the board votes on this, I think per Bill in accounting, and he can come up and explain it further, I think that there was some need to reevaluate the numbers embedded in that resolution, so they were looking to make a motion to table.
Okay, so, all right, if that's what he's doing, you don't have to explain, you're the auditor, I think we have enough reason to, he's gotta do some research on it, right? So,
I'll make a motion to table it.
Second.
good. Take a vote, Diane, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes to table.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes to table.
Resolution number 59 has been tabled. Resolution 60.
Ratifies the execution and submission of grant application to Suffolk County for fiscal year 2019 Community Development Block Grant Funds, so moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 61.
Amends Resolution 2022-2, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution number 62.
Rescinds Resolution 2022-26, so moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 63.
Ratifies the approval of overnight stay for police department employee.
So moved.
Second.
So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 64.
Accepts the resignation of Town Attorney Robert F. Kazakevich. I don't want to move it.
Don't. Don't.
I think he'd be angry at me.
Let's table it.
Get us table it.
So
Let's end the
moved.
meeting today.
Seconded. Seconded.
Unfortunately, vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Promised I would always support you. I feel like I'm voting you out. I can't do this, Bob. I'm sorry. But I have to agree by your wishes, so I vote yes.
Arod.
God bless.
Yes, again, congratulations on a wonderful career at the town. Yes. Thank you.
Hubbard.
Absolutely yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution.
Sadly adopted.
Yeah, there you go. Resolution 65.
Accepts the retirement of paralegal Laura J. Lennox. I think that's Laura
Yeah,
Calamita,
Calamita.
right? Yes, Calamita. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Again, all best wishes in everything you do. God bless. I vote yes.
Arod.
Likewise, yes.
Hubbard.
Yeah, again, with a saddened heart, but yes.
Aguirre.
Unfortunately, I'm going to say yes, but I wish you the best of luck, Laura.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 66.
Ratifies the promotion of a maintenance mechanic 1. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 67.
Appoints an automotive mechanic 2. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 68.
Amends the salary of the Assistant Water District Superintendent. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 69.
Amends the salary of the Water District Superintendent. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 70.
Authorizes publication of a help wanted advertisement regarding part-time police officers. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 71.
Authorization to publish and post notice to bidders for food and meat products. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes to meat products.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 72.
Authorization to publish and post notice to bidders for Police Department Marine Unit boat and motor maintenance. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 73.
Extends bid nunc pro tunc for general hardware items. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 74.
Awards bid for census water meter and accessory equipment or reasonable equivalent and repair to meter reading equipment. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 75.
Awards bid for water service materials. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution number 76.
As soon as I get to it. That's a long bid.
Yeah.
Approved special event chapter 255 application for Scramble Incorporated Scramble Cold Fusion. So moved.
Second.
I'm gonna ask you to vote, but, I'm asking the board to consider NHRA sanctioned events. So if you vote on this, this is not sanctioned, we can put a condition that they can be sanctioned and gives them the opportunity to get sanctioned possibly. Go ahead, vote please, board.
Kern.
Yes, they had a successful event last year, so I would be, satisfied with them doing it the way they did last year.
Okay.
Rothwell.
Yes, I vote the same as is.
Bayrock.
Yes, I think they had a successful event, and I'm sure that our fire marshal and our chief of police will make sure that every safety precaution is instituted. Yes.
Hubbard.
I'm going to vote no because my concern was with the Jersey barriers, and although Mr. Baxter said the opposite of how I felt, I did dig and do a little bit of research, and I'm much more comfortable with the Jersey barriers going down the full length as they had been done in Mr. Scalzo's operation, part of what the NHRA requires. So I'm going to vote no.
Aguirre.
Yeah, we are a self-insured town. If we have an accident, a serious injury, a death there, it's gonna possibly affect all the other leases. And I'm being very cautious, and unfortunately, I don't think this is, that we should go forward based on what the NHRA states. And they are the authority, they are the word, and so I'm gonna take their guidance, and I'm gonna vote no.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 77.
Approved special event, Chapter 255, application for 2022 Fall Classic Racetrack Knott Street at EPCAL. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes, with the exception of September 11th, as we spoke about, yes.
Aguirre.
That's in the next resolution. Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 78.
This resolution has been amended for one of the dates from Sunday, September 11th, will be moved to September 9th, a Friday night. Approved special event, Chapter 255 application for Racetrack Knott Street 2022 Summer Classic as amended.
I'll second as amended.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes, as amended.
Aguirre.
Yes, as amended.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 79.
Approved special event, Chapter 255, application for Racetrack Knott Street at EPCAL 2022 Spring Classic. So moved.
Can I get a second, please?
Seconded.
Thank you. Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 80.
Authorizes the retention of Lewis and Greer, P.C., to act as special counsel regarding tax certiorari, certiorari, I knew that, and related real estate tax assessment matters. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 81.
Appointment and approval of the fee schedule for the Rainer Group PE and LS PLLC as consulting engineers and land surveyors. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 82.
Authorizes the retention of Michael Haberman Associates, Inc. as a consultant in connection with tax certiorari proceedings. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 83.
Authorizes the retention of Keenan Bean, P.C. to act as special counsel regarding tax certiorari and related real property tax assessment matters. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 84.
Grants excavation exportation permit as provided by Chapter 229 to Riverhead Retail Partners, LLC. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 85.
Grant special permit for proposed drive-in restaurant and retail site, north side of Old Country Road, 230 feet west of Osborne Avenue, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-1082-6.1. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 86.
Sets the fees for usage of recreation and other town facilities. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 87.
Authorizes final amendment and addendum to contract between the Town of Riverhead and European American Waste Disposal Corp. for the residential solid waste collection and disposal services for the Riverhead Refuge and Garbage District. I'd like to table this and bring it up to next work session.
Seconded.
Making a motion to table?
Yeah, it's a motion to table. This is the one that is.
I second
Oh,
it.
that's the one we spoke about?
Yeah.
Okay, as long as we spoke about it, yeah.
I second the motion. to
You're gonna
table.
second the motion, all right, take the vote on the motion, and then,
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes to table.
Bayrock.
Sure, yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
yes.
Resolution 87 is tabled. Resolution 88.
Amends resolution number 2022-2. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please?
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 89.
Ratifies authorization for sewer district employees to attend seminar. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please?
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 90.
Pay bills. So moved.
Yeah.
Cited. It's the end of the day.
I second.
Okay, we have a second?
Kern.
Vote?
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Okay, thank you, Diane. That concludes our resolutions for today. At this point, we're going to open the meeting for public comments on any matter. Do any of the members from the public wish to comment on any matter?
Just a reminder to folks, they'll have 5 minutes to make all their comments during the open comment period. We'll need their name and their hamlet. And of course, any back and forth with the town board doesn't stop the clock. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Ellen Hoyle, Riverhead, New York. Now, I understand that there is a difference between a requirement for a public hearing. However, it's my also understanding that even though something doesn't require a public hearing, you can still have a public hearing about it. There also seems to be some confusion as to, or misunderstanding, that somehow allowing public comments for 5 minutes is similar to having a public hearing. A public meeting refers to any meeting that is open to the public. It does not require you to talk about a specific topic. A public hearing, on the other hand, is primarily intended to obtain public testimony or comment before significant decisions are made. It allows citizens to express the intensity of their concerns, disagreements, or approvals. In this way, local officials get a preview of the potential political consequences of a decision before they make it. So allowing a 5-minute conversation in which there's not really 5 minutes because you can interrupt is not the same as allowing people to really voice their concerns about an issue. For instance, Mr. Scalzo's event. I had further questions. For instance, last year we had an issue where the material for the drag race was left on the property during the week, not just on the weekends, but we were only charging for during the weekends. Are we now charging for the whole week? Is the material going to be left there for the whole week? Those are questions that we should be allowed to ask and not be cut off after 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
And the public should also be aware, and Ms. Hoyle, you're an attorney, that at town board meetings, we allow Riverhead and the board allow people to come forward. It's not a mandatory. Some towns only allow 2 minutes, some towns do not allow it, and other towns allow 3 minutes. So we allow 5. We're very comfortable with it, and so.
Okay, since my 5 minutes aren't up, if you allow any conversation at a public comment section or during comments on the resolution, if you're going to impose a 5-minute limit, that 5 minutes applies to everybody. You cannot arbitrarily decide who that 5 minutes applies to. Thank you.
Okay, so moving forward, anybody else? Hi.
Hi, John Cullen, Northville again. I'd like to congratulate Dawn Thomas back there for her grant that she received for the town.
Yes.
Fabulous,
We didn't make a
fabulous.
comment on that.
Bob, we're gonna miss you. I didn't need you that much, but when I did, you were right there with help.
Yes.
Before I got home, I had an email with the final answer. Thank you for your time, and thank you for Riverhead, and also, you're the third person I know moving to South Carolina in the last 3 months. So get ready, the traffic's gonna be just as bad there as it is here before you know it. And to the supervisor.
Perfect.
And to the supervisor, thank you so much for your comments in the patch dealing with helicopter noise throughout
Oh, you
Riverhead.
have to.
It was a stern comment,
Oh, we're not going up for that.
and it was a nice comment by you and a nice comment by Southold's Scott Russell, Supervisor Scott Russell.
We're working together.
As you may know, tomorrow at the town board in East Hampton, they will be taking a vote to take full control of their airport and closing the airport for a couple of days, which is required by the FAA, and then reopening with their own rules. And they have pretty much stated that things are really going to change there. If they don't have any meaningful changes out in East Hampton, I believe the airport will end up closing. But right now, they are going to make some major changes, and I look forward to see what they do, and I hope they say what they do. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Jeff?
I can't let this go.
Right.
I have to. Day 2 of my job, I got a violation. I didn't get the violation, I got notice of a violation. So, didn't know Bob, I went to his office and I told him who it was and what it was. Bob put his hands on his desk, picked up the phone, dialed a number by memory, and I don't remember the person's name for the sake of this discussion. Call him Mike. Picked up, he goes, Mike, Bob here. Knock the crap off. You've been doing the same thing since high school. Knock it off. Don't stop doing it. That took care of it. So, Bob is going to be irreplaceable. I've been doing this job off and on for over 40 years. Forget the 10 attorney title for Bob. He's been one of the best co-workers I've ever had the privilege and honor of working with. So Bob, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You're going to be missed. And my heart and my best wishes also go out to Laura Calamita. She has been absolutely wonderful for the town of Riverhead. And the last thing I want to say is also to mimic what John said. Don Thomas, thank you for everything that you've been have done for the town. You've been wonderful to work with, and I look forward to continue working with you.
Yeah.
So that's all I had to say. I apologize, but this is the only time I would get to say this to Bob. So Bob, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, I think, did you have a
Yeah,
comment?
I just wanted to say to Mrs. Hines, thank you very much for your positive comments and your input in this community. People like you are extremely important, and your thoughts are as well. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's a pleasure to meet you, Ms. Hines. It's good to know you live in Calverton, correct? Yeah, in Calverton. The hamlet of Calverton. So it's great to see members so engaged, and thank you for making those statements. And does anyone else have any comments? Do you have somebody to Zoom?
Hello again, Kathy McGraw from Northville. I'd just like to say how much I appreciate the opportunity to speak at these board meetings. You all represent the people of Riverhead, and I think it's so important that you hear from the people of Riverhead. Today you've heard from some people you've never heard from before. It is a really important function that you listen. You say that we can write emails and we can come in, but the chances of catching you are not good. This is a perfect venue to allow the public to speak up and to learn what's going on in Riverhead. And I would simply say that I would really appreciate it if when the public asks a question, you would try to respond to it. Just being able to ask the question is not enough. If you take the time to come and ask a question, you're seeking an answer. And I think that you owe it to the people you represent to try where you can to give answers. And tonight there was some effort to do that, and I appreciate that. I would point out that the resolution you passed on Scramble 76 has an error in it. It says the application amount is $350. It's $650. That needs to be fixed. I would also say, and I'm going to ask you a question and see if you'll respond and help us out here. Island Water Park, there was a stop work order. I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen anything in the news. I haven't seen anything in work sessions. I'd just really like to know the status of that project.
Ma'am, do you have any other questions or comments before the town board responds?
Well, I don't know if the town board is going to respond, so I'll just make one other little comment. I think we saw the difference between being able to comment on resolutions as opposed to a public hearing. Mr. Scalzo got to talk as long as he wanted. The rest of us don't. In a public hearing, the public can also respond and get up and respond. So I think a public hearing would be, the racing at EPCAL is very important to the town of Riverhead. and I think it deserved public hearings. So thank you, and if somebody could tell me the status of the Island Water Park, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Someone's coming up to speak with you now, Kathy.
Great, thank you.
Oh,
Hi, Jeff.
Good evening. We have received a final site plan application for Island Water Park, so you'll be seeing a resolution before you shortly.
Okay. So, all right.
I just want to address, Ms. McGraw said that we let Mr. Scalzo speak forever. We gave him 5 minutes, he spoke. We as a board had questions and brought him back up. It wasn't on his 5 minutes, it was on information that we requested as a board. So let's make that clear, please.
And we're talking about 3 resolutions, not one. 3 resolutions.
It would be no different than anybody else who came up. They did their 5 minutes, and if we had questions, we would ask them to come back
Yes.
up or still continue to ask them, so.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that. We want to make sure that that's clear. There is no preferential treatment, and I know where this is going, and it's okay. But yes, we try to give everyone their opportunity, and again, open meeting laws. There is no designation that we must allow public input. We here in the town of Riverhead do allow it for 5 minutes. And so with that in mind, do we have anybody else? Okay.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Barbara.
Wonderful, thank you. Bob and Laura, congratulations to both of you. I wish you years of good luck. You're going to be terribly missed, or sorely missed. And I know that the town has been better off for the many years of service that you both gave so diligently and so professionally. So I want to thank you and wish you luck in your retirement. I do have a question about S-Power. I understand that based upon a notice that was submitted recently, that they are commencing construction next week. This is S-Power 2. And I'm just wondering if we have a community benefits agreement yet, and have the pilot payments been negotiated in light of the fact that they are beginning construction?
The agreements have not been negotiated in final form. This is to, I think it's called tree clearing and pre-construction. Their permit will still need to negotiate those items before they can undertake what they consider to be the full construction. But good point, and we've had discussions on both documents, but we haven't finalized them.
Will there be any public discussion and disclosure of what's being anticipated in the community benefits agreement?
I'll take that under advisement with the board, and we'll report back. I think at some point it's going to become a document part of the record, but I don't have a concrete answer for you at this point. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
Well, that's a legal matter that we're negotiating with the attorneys. So, yeah, it's a legal matter being negotiated with attorneys, and then once, we're always gonna try to get the most money that we can for Riverhead. Once we get to that point, of course it's gonna go to the public, and it has to. And then the board has to agree that's what they feel is the appropriate amount. So there is a process, and it will take place. Do we have anybody else?
Good evening, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, Kelly McClinchy, Manorville. I just wanted to start off by congratulating Bob and Laura on their retirement. I wish you both the best. I also wanted to congratulate Dawn Thomas, receiving that grant money. The big thing, she's wonderful at what she does, and we're lucky to have her. I also wanted to thank the board for the opportunity to speak via Zoom tonight. It's reassuring, especially with COVID numbers up, that we have the opportunity to do this right now. I just have one basic question. The water forum meeting, the last one was held in September, and at that meeting it was said that the forum would go quarterly. So right now, we're going on about 4 months. I reached out via email twice, but I haven't heard anything in response. So I just wanted to ask, is there a plan in place for another meeting? And if so, what might that plan look like? Thank you.
If I can answer, I did speak with Anne Marie today and also our town board coordinator. We're just looking at the calendar, so we are ready to schedule a water forum meeting, and we are also ready to schedule our marijuana committee as well. And so we were just looking at a few dates available to utilize this boardroom, and then we'll present the supervisor and check your schedule as well. And so if I would ask if, once we finalize those dates, the supervisor can put them up on the website, so perhaps people could just be apprised and keep an eye on the website, but they should be posted shortly for a second meeting for both of those committees.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone from the public, anyone on Zoom? John McCullough's coming back, okay.
You're on mute, John.
John, unmute.
Got it.
We know you're not
John
lost for
McAuliffe.
words.
John McAuliffe from
Hi.
Roanoke Landing, and it's a gecko for the record, not a lizard. But,
Gecko.
at any rate, I want to do two things. One is just reflect on what's happened this evening, because I think it's important you have a responsibility. The supervisor said several times that it is not necessary to give time for people to speak, and that acting as though the 5 minutes is very generous. My memory was that there were no time limits prior to when that time limit was imposed in your previous term, just to keep that in mind. In terms of what happened tonight, essentially you had half a hearing. And Tim is right that the extended time for Mr. Scalzo came at your initiative, but the objective reality was that there was considerably more time spent on one side of a discussion than would have been the case. And also that the community, because it based both on what happened at the work session and what was in the local, would have no reason to have thought that if they had a concern about what was going to happen about the doubling of the number of races and moving the location and the rest of it, they didn't know to show up. I think that, again, in terms of your good faith with the community, given what you had already said, it would be much better now to hold hearings. I would say that that seems a little weird to do it after the decisions, but as you've said, these adoptions of resolutions mean there's still a lot to be discussed about the actual project and approval of the project. So I would just hope that once you get the additional documentation from the people that are doing the races and those long forms that we discussed a year ago, that you do schedule hearings and do let people have a chance to say and push back at what the assumptions have been about what happened last year. And I think that you could do that. There's no reason why you couldn't do a set of hearings and give people adequate notice about them. The other thing I wanted to say is the same point I said 2 weeks ago, which is the article I circulated, whether anyone has had a chance to look at it and whether the problems that Mr. Kislin, Eric Kislin, has had in his other project leave you to have some doubt about the whole HK Ventures project and whether there's some way in which you can involve yourselves in having some reconsideration or final consideration of whether HK is somebody we want to have in Riverhead. Thank you.
Well, I just want to make
Can I
one,
say something just on the time element?
yeah, that's what I also want to make about the time limit.
Yeah,
Before we go there, there's always been a time limit for years. And Mr. McCall, you should be aware of that because you come to every town board meeting and you sit throughout it. So, but in either case, we're going to let our attorney make his statement on
Yeah,
time.
I just wanted to make sure the record was somewhat clear on the question of the 5-minute rule, because and I wish my computer was up, but in 2013, the town board at that time adopted rules. There were 2 resolutions that were done, I believe it was in March of 2013, which set forth various rules for open comment, for public hearings, and for comment on resolutions. And at that time, the 5-minute rule was put into place. Historically, and Dawn can bear this out because she was town attorney when I was town supervisor, we actually took that stoplight that's somewhere up there and we had it up here, and we tried to enforce it to limit people to 5 minutes. So it was in place as far back as the year 2000. Without rules in place, it wasn't until 2013 that the rules were actually adopted, and whether they were vigorously asserted, constantly given reminders to the public, they were in place. So it's not something that's new. As pointed out, the idea was to limit the time that people could speak on resolutions and on the open period, but of course allow them an unfettered opportunity to speak at public hearings, and that's been in place since 2013.
And I would confirm that, and I would also just add that it's not to limit the speaker's opportunity to share their opinion, but rather to ensure that the balance of the people at the meeting have that opportunity as well, and the meeting doesn't go on ad nauseum, because
And to maintain decorum as well, and equal opportunity for everybody to be heard.
yeah, you remember we were here occasionally till 1 o'clock in the morning, and not that that's not our job.
Right.
It's just that it became difficult for people to wait that long to make their comments, which were just as valid and relevant. So it's not about limiting the speaker, it's about providing that opportunity, I think, to everybody. So that would be my
Agreed.
only add on that topic.
Agreed.
Okay.
I just want to make a comment that the reason I was able to come to this meeting is because I saw it at the Riverhead Local, and that the meetings are being available both in Zoom.
I'm sorry, if I could just interrupt, we just need your name and your hamlet for the transcriptionist.
Sorry.
Once again, thank you.
Zuleika Hines, and Josephine Hines, and I'm in Riverhead.
Okay.
So I think that, and Zoom is available on everybody's iPhone or phone. So I just want to say that not many places are allowing meetings to happen both simultaneously, in person and via Zoom. Whether we agree or not on the topics, the access is there, and that information was received. And I got the outline when I was waiting on the bus, looking at the phone. So the information is there for those who are interested in looking for it and are interested in participating, which is why I came. I don't come at every meeting, but I think activities in Riverhead is important for the whole community. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And also on our website, we have the entire year calendar for our town board meetings. So you can go on to our website, look for agendas, you can see the hours, the dates, the time, and if you sign up for updates, once we post the agenda with the resolutions and the Zoom information, you'll get something on your phone, it'll say updated records on Riverhead Township. So it is available if you want to see it, but we're going to move away from that. I'm going to move, I think that we're done. You have
I
one
think
more?
I have one more.
Mr. Oxen, how you doing?
Good, I'm trying to unmute and figure this out. Can you hear me, yes?
Yes, we can. Good evening.
Very good. Good evening. Larry Oxman, on the board of directors of the Long Island Science Center, the owner of 111 East Main Street, and wishing everyone here a very happy new year. A big welcome to our new town board member, Bob Kern. I came here just really to congratulate the town board and the Community Development Agency on the award of the DRE. Shortly after the award was announced, I had said to Dawn, we should really prove the saying, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Each application just became stronger and stronger. And Riverhead put together a very strong application, and we were given the award. So the Science Center, as you know, we purchased the building next door. We flanked the west side of the town square. This is the former Suzie department store. We're going to be an integral part of the new planned town square. In fact, the DRI application states that the Science Center will be a focal point of the town square. And, we're really excited. And other people that I speak to, everyone's really excited. So we look forward to working with the town on the design of the town square and as well as the final design on the Science Center. Again, congratulations, and really excited.
So, do we have anyone else? Because we have to go into a CDA meeting. Okay, so we're gonna close the town board meeting and we're gonna open the CDA meeting. Can I have a first and a second to close the town board meeting?
So moved.
So, can I get a second?
Second.
Good. Take the vote, Diane?
Certainly. Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
A-Rod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
The town board meeting is closed and the CDA meeting is now open.
Oh, and, so Dawn Thomas, you came up?
I'm here.
Thank you, Director Thomas, and I've been waiting all night to say this. A couple of weeks ago, Ms. Thomas was designated the civil service, public servant, public servant?
Public servant, yes.
Public servant, okay? And I would say not less than a week later, it got followed by a $10 million grant that the town received from the governor's office to help create the town square and to also work with the transit-oriented area that we're trying to develop. It was an exciting day last Thursday and Friday here for Riverhead. And, we want to thank the governor for believing in us. I know when they called on Wednesday, we knew what it was about. They wanted to have a meeting, a press conference here. We knew it, we set it up. And we do have good lines of communication with the governor's office. I believe, and for 2 years, I've worked very closely with Dawn Thomas. I think her attitude, her desire, her belief in Riverhead, her deep-rooted family here, her personality, her intelligence, there's everything in a leader. Everything in a together, and she has it, and it's my honor to work with her, to support her. And there are times we don't agree, but we've never argued. We've moved on in a great direction, and we go like, we just really disagreed, but we came up with a solution. And that's what it should be all about. And I want to congratulate you in front of your peers, in front of town, the residents here. We have an asset, and I thank the News Review for selecting her, knowing the inside, and the governor's office are coming in right behind in less than a week and rewarding the town of Riverhead. And again, thank you for being the vessel for us, and I look forward to the next 2 years.
Well, I thank you very much for your kind words. They're very overwhelming to me, for sure, and thanks to the News Review also for honoring me this way. I really have nothing to say other than thanking the board, and I said this before. You have created a climate and an environment that we work in, and it's great. And because we have the freedom to do our work and you trust in us to do what you asked us to do, we get the job done. And if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing. And that's just, the proof is in the pudding here. In the past years, we didn't win, and this year we were able to really take the application forward and do that work, and the town benefited, and we're really, honestly, I'm honored and grateful to have the opportunity to work for the town.
thanks to Bob Kozakevich, who brought me to Town Hall in 2000, and has been my mentor ever since. And, you know, been grateful to work for each and every one of you and for the community all these years. So, lucky me, right? That is what I have to say. But I think we have a CDA meeting.
Okay, we do.
I'll cut to the CDA meeting and not go on. We have only one resolution to approve the minutes of the January 4th CDA meeting, and we need a motion and a second for that.
So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Okay. Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Fayrott.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
The minutes are approved, and that is the final business of the agency for this evening. Okay, so we have some speakers on general matters relating to CDA.
Is she still on?
She is, it's just delayed.
I apologize for the delay. I didn't understand I have to join as a panelist. I've got it now. Congratulations to Dawn and to all the folks who put together that application and got the $10 million for Riverhead. It's fantastic. Thank you so much. My question tonight is about EPCAL. Some time ago, I asked about whether there was any progress being made on the subdivision pending before the DEC, as well as the permit that is needed. And I was told that there was work being done, but I haven't heard a word about EPCAL in a very long time. And it's a huge, huge asset in Riverhead. And clearly with the comprehensive plan being discussed, we need to know what's going to happen at EPCAL. So if there's any kind of an update that you could provide, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're done. Concerning EPCAL, we are in discussions with the attorneys, and we're going to have a discussion with the board very soon and see what direction they want to take. We're going to give them the options that they have, and we're looking at every possible option, and we're going to meet with them hopefully within a month, and the board is going to decide what direction it's going to take. We make the decision cohesively, collectively, and so we're researching with our attorneys every direction, and that's, you know, that's contractual. Those are items that go under executive session, and there will be an executive session soon in that regard. So anyone else? You have one more? Paula?
All right, many steps to be taken. John McAuliffe, Roanoke Landing. Apologies for coming back on. It does give me a chance to congratulate Dawn and also to congratulate Bob. I don't know the third person, but I'm sure that from what everybody said, her contribution has been as important in her own way. But I did want to say the reason that my view of the absence of time limits is that the first participation I had in town board meetings was during Laura Jen Smith's term, and I don't recall time limits being imposed. I stand corrected if they were there in principle or in terms of a previous resolution. So simply acknowledge that is better information. The HK property is not within EPCAL, but it borders on EPCAL, so it gives me a moment to then ask the question I asked before, whether you have read the article and whether there is something that the board can do to affect that project going forward. On EPCAL, I would hope that within your consideration is walking away from the contract, and we'll be very interested to some of contractual things you obviously will do behind closed doors, but we hope that there will be ample opportunity for the community to be involved in the discussion. But again, I'll to mention again the HK and Mr. Kislin question. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Can I say one thing before you close? I just, in the spirit of Dawn, who always comes forward and gives exciting news about, we are in the finalists. I have been informed that you are one of the top 10 finalists for Public Servant of the Decade. Keep going, go strong, and don't stop. And I hope you get Public Servant of the Decade, please.
Yeah, we are continuing to work hard, my colleagues and I in the Community Development Office, who are just as important as me in getting this work done. So they're getting some credit too, I think, and this board again, and the leadership here has been really, really critical for us to get our work done, and we're going to keep going. So,
Dawn, the marquee should say, Dawn Thomas,
please.
not your average CDA director.
Yes, I think that is something. I might get a T-shirt that says, "Not average." We'll see. As I was designated by our
Well, they
previous.
already want to have a race, a kayak race. All the supervisors in Suffolk County want to, and
Yeah,
the legislators
let's
want to
go.
come out.
Let's
So that's
go.
interesting.
Yeah. Everybody loves
A lot of
Riverhead.
good things, and it's not over. We
Nope.
have some stuff in the pipeline, and we're
Onward,
going to keep
right?
moving. With a balance, we're going to keep moving our town forward.
Exciting
And
stuff.
I think that's it. We don't have any more comments, and so I am gonna, I'm gonna ask for a first and a second to close the CDA meeting.
So moved.
And we'll vote then.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay. Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrott, Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Okay, the CDA meeting for January is hereby concluded.
Okay, thank you, Dawn, and thank you everyone for attending, and please be safe. Have a good night, and can I have a first and a second? Oh, no, we don't need a second, we just did it. Okay, we're good.